I overheard my stepson tell my wife, yes, I already cut the break. See you at his funeral tomorrow. I didn't confront them. I documented everything and destroyed their lives. Sup Reddit. I, 52 male, and Carol, 50 female, had been married 11 years, and it used to be steady in that boring, grown-up way. Lately, it wasn't. She was in full keep the peace at any cost mode with her 32-year-old basement-dwelling son, and I was the guy saying no out loud, so the house had been tense and polite in the worst way. One day, while I was holding the warm bag of fried chicken from the grocery store, when I heard my stepson say it. Yeah, I already cut the brake line. See you at his funeral tomorrow. The garage was dark. I'd come in through the side door, trying to avoid Carol's freshly mopped kitchen. The only light came from the workbench window and Cyrus's phone screen. I could see his silhouette, broad shoulders, head tilted casual. My fingers tightened around the bag. The grease had soaked through, warm against my palm. I'd grabbed it thinking maybe we could have one normal night. One meal where nobody brought up money, or the fact that my 32-year-old stepson still lived in our basement. Cyrus's voice stayed flat. Yeah, it's done. He won't make it to Monday. He chuckled. Then a woman's voice through the speaker. Clear, familiar. You're sure? I'm sure, Cyrus said. You said you wanted it over. I stepped closer, pulse hammering. Cyrus turned slightly and I saw his phone screen. The caller ID. Carol, my wife's name. Her contact. Right there. The voice came again, and this time I caught the phrase. After Sunday service, then. Just be careful with that truck of yours. My stomach dropped. Sunday service. She always said that instead of church, and the line about the truck. She'd joked for years that I loved that F-150 more than her. It was Carol. No question. Yeah, the voice said. Don't forget to lock up when you leave tomorrow. Don't forget to lock up. She said it every single time she left the house. Every time. Left it on voicemails when she went to her sister's. Carol was a habitual voicemail leaver. Always reminding, always checking. But something felt wrong. The phrasing was right, but the rhythm was off, like someone reading lines instead of speaking them. Carol never sounded that flat. I backed up one step. My boot caught the edge of the doorframe. Scraped just loud enough. Cyrus's head snapped toward the sound. His phone screen went dark. I froze. Counted 3 seconds. 5. 10. He turned back to the workbench. Started organizing tools like nothing happened. I slid out without a sound. Didn't slam the door. Didn't let it click. Just pulled it shut and walked fast around the house. Cold December air cut my cheeks. The night felt too normal. Porch lights, a dog barking, TV noise from a window. The chicken bag hit the trash can at the corner. Every instinct screamed to go back inside and confront them both. Grab Cyrus by the collar and demand answers. Patience is my tool. I'd set it to apprentices in the HVAC shop when they rush jobs. Slow down. Patience is your tool. You use it first. I got into my sedan and sat with the engine off. Call the police. My thumb hovered. Then the cold thought came. What do I say? My stepson said he cut my brake line and my wife agreed to it. No recording, no confrontation, no body yet. In a small town, that makes you a punchline. Or paranoid. Cyrus would say Tobias has been stressed. Carol would dab her eyes. And they'd keep going. I needed evidence first. Proof that wouldn't sound crazy. I pulled out my phone and started documenting. Opened my notes app. Wrote down everything I could remember. Time, date, location. What Cyrus said word for word. What the voice on the phone said. The contact name I saw on his screen. Then I took a photo of the garage from where I sat. Time stamped. Showed my truck in the driveway. Showed the side door I'd entered through. Cyrus had always acted like consequences were for other people. At 32, he still lived like a teenager. New gadgets, new schemes, old grudges. When Carol and I married 11 years ago, I thought he'd grow up. Instead, he grew meaner. Like he decided the world owed him, and I was refusing payment. Carol was different back then. Worked as an office manager at a medical practice. Volunteered at church. Cared what the neighbors thought. She'd always been conflict avoidant. Hated confrontation. Would smooth things over rather than deal with problems head on. It drove me crazy sometimes. But Carol played it safe. Always. The real shift came 6 months ago. I'd been managing my retirement accounts, updating beneficiaries. Carol was listed first, obviously. But the amounts had grown. 30 years of careful saving. A paid-off house. Survivor benefits from my HVAC pension. We were talking close to $1 million if something happened to me. Cyrus had asked about it one night. Just casual. Who gets what if you die, Tobias? I should have lied. Instead, I told him the truth. Carol. Then it gets split between any dependents. He'd smiled slow. So I'm a dependent? You're an adult, I said, living in my basement. His face changed, like I'd slapped him. A few weeks later, he'd asked me to co-sign a loan. $38,000 to consolidate debt. I looked at the paperwork. Interest like a shark smile, buried fees that would have had me paying back nearly $60,000 by year 3. I'd worked with numbers my whole life. HVAC estimates, material costs, labor hours. You learn to spot bad math fast. I told him no. You always think you're better than me. I think I'm older, I said, and I've learned what debt does. He'd gone quiet. Then he started working on Carol, planting seeds. Tobias doesn't trust me. Tobias thinks I'm worthless. Tobias wants me gone. She'd started looking at me different after that. Like maybe Cyrus had a point. Carol had always felt guilty about Cyrus's childhood. Owen left when Cyrus was 6. She blamed herself. Overcompensated. Couldn't say no to him even when she should have. Around that time, Cyrus started spending more time with Owen again. His dad had taught him mechanic work when he was younger, and suddenly Cyrus was over at Owen's garage every weekend. Learning tools, he'd said. Bonding. Carol thought it was healthy. I thought it was convenient timing. I'd driven past Owen's place once and seen them both under a car on lifts. Brake work, Owen had said when I asked, teaching him the basics. And Cyrus had gotten weird about his phone. Started recording everything. Family dinners, casual conversations, Carol's voicemails. Said he was making a documentary about blended families. Nobody questioned it. I sat in my car for another 20 minutes, thinking through every option. Then I made my decision. I couldn't drive the truck. That was obvious. But I also couldn't just abandon it at the house. If something happened to it while I wasn't around, if Cyrus had second thoughts and tried to fix it, the evidence would disappear. I opened the roadside assistance app and called for a tow. The dispatcher sounded half asleep. What's the pickup location? Front driveway. My voice came out steady. Silver Ford F-150. Need it towed tonight. Is it drivable? No. Safety issue. How soon? As soon as possible. Please. She asked for my membership number. I gave it. She put me on hold. When she came back, her tone had shifted. Sir, we can have a truck there in 40 minutes. Is this an emergency? It's urgent. Then I called my attorney, someone I'd worked with on a property dispute years back. She picked up on the second ring. This better be good. It's almost midnight. I need advice. Right now. Where are you? In my car. Outside my house. I just overheard my stepson admit to cutting my brake line. Said he wants me dead. And I think my wife was on the call agreeing to it. Silence. Then her voice sharpened. Did you touch the truck? No, I'm having it towed right now. I need to know what to do. Good. Don't touch it. Where are you having it towed? I gave her the address of a long-term storage facility off the main highway. 24-hour security. Cameras everywhere. Climate-controlled units, but also outdoor vehicle storage with chain link and padlocks. Perfect, she said. Pay for a month up front. Park it and lock it. Don't let anyone near it until we get it inspected by an independent mechanic. Not someone you know. Not someone Cyrus knows. Someone I refer. What about the police? We'll call them after we have the evidence documented. Right now, it's your word against his. You need the brake line inspected and photographed by a professional before anyone can claim you tampered with it or that it was normal wear and tear. What if they try something else? Then you don't go home tonight. Check into a motel. Somewhere they won't look. Pay cash if you can. Pay. And Tobias, don't tell anyone where you're going. Not Carol. Not friends. Nobody. Headlights swept the street. The tow truck. The tow's here, I said. Good. Call me when it's secured. The driver was a thick man in a beanie. He looked at the truck, the house, then me. He rapped my window. You the one called it in? Yes. What's wrong with it? Brake problem. Taking it to storage. At this hour? It's important. He shrugged. Where are we going? I gave him the address. He whistled. That's a haul. I'll pay extra. How much we talking? 200. Cash. Half now, half when we get there. He considered it, then nodded. Deal. I handed him 100. He pocketed it and got to work. The winch rattled. Metal cable like chains dragging. I watched my F-150 roll onto the flatbed. That truck had carried me through 3 decades of work. Tools in the bed, parts runs, emergency calls in the middle of the night. The driver returned with paperwork. Sign here. My pen shook. I forced it steady. He looked at me. You all right, man? I stared at my house. Warm light through drawn curtains. My wife inside. Probably on the couch like nothing was wrong. I'm fine. Just tired. He nodded and climbed into the cab. As the flatbed pulled away, I took another photo. Time stamped. Showed the truck being towed. Showed my house in the background. My phone buzzed. Carol, where are you? Then Cyrus, you moved the truck? I didn't answer. Instead, I opened my notes app again. Added the texts. Timestamps. Exact wording. Everything. I followed the tow truck to the storage facility. It was one of those places that rents units to hoarders and people mid-divorce. Chain link fences. Security cameras on every corner. A bored attendant in a booth watching Netflix. I paid for outdoor vehicle storage. Spot 47, back corner, under a light. Gave them my ID. Signed the contract. Got the padlock key. The tow driver unloaded my truck and I parked it in the spot. Took more photos. Every angle. The position. The lock. The fence. The camera overhead. Then I locked it and walked away. The driver dropped me at a gas station 2 miles away. I called an Uber from there. Went to a motel off the highway and checked in under a fake name. Paid cash. Room 217. Second floor. View of the parking lot so I could see who came and went. Called my attorney back. It's secured. Good. I'm calling a mechanic I trust first thing in the morning. Former state police vehicle inspector. Does work for insurance fraud cases. If that brake line was cut, he'll document it properly. What do I do until then? Stay at the motel. Don't contact Carol or Cyrus. Don't answer their calls. If they show up, call the police immediately. And Tobias, write down everything you remember from tonight. Every detail, time, what was said, what you saw. We'll need it for the police report. I'm already doing that. Good. Get some sleep if you can. This is going to get worse before it gets better. She hung up. I sat on the bed and opened my laptop. Started writing. Every detail. The conversation. The phone screen. The contact name. Carol's voice patterns. The things that felt wrong. The timeline of Cyrus's behavior over the past 6 months. 3 single-spaced pages by the time I was done. My attorney called at 7 a.m. Mechanics on his way. Former state police vehicle inspector. 30 years experience. He'll meet you at the storage facility at 9. I'll be there. I drove my sedan to the facility. The mechanic was already waiting. Late 50s, gray hair, coveralls that had seen better days. He had a clipboard, a camera, and a rolling toolbox. Mr. Tobias? That's me. Your attorney says you think your brake line was tampered with. I know it was. I overheard the person who did it admit to it. His expression stayed neutral. Let's take a look. We walked to spot 47. I unlocked the gate. He walked around the truck first, took photos of the exterior, the tires, the position, everything. Then he popped the hood. I stood back, watched him work. He didn't rush, pulled out a flashlight, got down on a creeper and rolled under. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Then I heard him mutter something sharp. Mr. Tobias, come here, don't touch anything. I crouched down. He angled the flashlight. I'm not a mechanic, but I know machines. I know worn versus broken. The brake line wasn't frayed. It was cut, clean, straight, done slow and careful. He moved the light along the cut. See this? No rust, no corrosion. The metal's bright. This happened recently, within the last few days at most. Someone used a proper cutting tool, probably a tube cutter to keep it clean and controlled. Why clean? So it doesn't look obvious at first glance. You hit the brakes a few times, fluid leaks out gradual. By the time you're on the highway doing 70, you've got nothing left. Total brake failure. I stared until my vision blurred. When did you last drive this truck? Yesterday afternoon. It felt fine. Then it was done after that. Probably last night. He pulled out his phone and started taking pictures. Multiple angles. Close-ups of the cut. Wide shots showing the truck's position. The surrounding area. The security camera overhead. I'm documenting everything. Chain of custody has to be clean, or the police won't be able to use this. You know how to do this? Did it for 30 years. Insurance fraud investigations. Criminal cases. You document everything, or the defense tears it apart in court. He took more photos, then pulled out a measuring tape and measured the cut. Wrote down the dimensions. Took photos of his measurements. Then he rolled out from under the truck and made a phone call. Yeah, I need to report a felony vehicle tampering. Brake line deliberately cut with apparent intent to cause serious injury or death. He gave them the address. Stayed on the line. Looked at me. Police are on the way. Don't touch the vehicle. Don't let anyone near it. This is a crime scene now. 20 minutes later, 2 patrol cars pulled up. A younger officer and an older woman with sergeant stripes. The sergeant walked over. You the mechanic who called this in? That's me. You reported a vehicle tampering? Yes, ma'am. Brake line's been deliberately cut. Recent. Clean tool marks. This wasn't an accident. She looked at me. You're the owner? Yes. Tobias. When did you last drive it? Yesterday afternoon. Parked it in my driveway around 6 p.m. I overheard someone admit to cutting the brake line around 8:30. I had it towed here immediately and secured it until I could get it inspected. You overheard someone admit to this? Yes. Who? My stepson, Cyrus. Her expression changed. Where is he now? At my house. In the basement. The younger officer started taking notes. The sergeant knelt by the truck. The mechanic showed her the cut, explained the tool marks, the fresh metal, the timeline. She stood up and walked back to me. Sir, this is serious, but I need you to understand something. Without a recording or witness to the conversation you overheard, this is going to be hard to prosecute on the conspiracy side. We'll absolutely charge the vehicle tampering, but connecting it to your stepson without physical evidence is tough. I understand, but I documented everything. I have notes with timestamps, photos of the truck in my driveway before it was towed, the tow receipt, the storage contract, everything. Good. That helps. We'll need a formal statement from you, and we'll need to process this vehicle as evidence. The mechanic stepped forward. I can provide a written inspection report. Photos are already time-stamped. I'll include measurements and my professional assessment. The sergeant nodded. Thank you. That'll make the prosecutor's job easier. Any recent conflicts? He asked me to co-sign a loan 6 months ago. $38,000. I refused. They wrote it down. Any threats? Not direct, but he's been hostile since then. Told my wife I don't trust him, that I think he's worthless. What about your wife? Were you having marital problems? I hesitated. Yes, she's been defending him, enabling him. We've been fighting about boundaries. The sergeant looked at me carefully. I need to ask this. Is there any possibility your wife was involved? I heard her voice on the call, or something that sounded like her voice, but something felt off about it. Off how? The phrasing was right, but the rhythm was wrong. Like someone reading a script instead of having a conversation. She wrote that down. We'll look into it. They gave me an incident report number. Told me not to discuss the case with anyone except my attorney. Told me they'd follow up within 48 hours. Then they impounded my truck as evidence. The mechanic handed me his report. 3 pages. Detailed measurements. Photos printed and attached. His signature and credentials at the bottom. My number's on there if you need anything else, he said. And Tobias? You did this right. You didn't panic. You documented. You protected the evidence. That's going to save your life in court. I drove back to the motel. Didn't go home. My attorney had been clear. Stay away until we know what we're dealing with. My phone buzzed constantly. Carol, Cyrus, Carol's sister, even a few church friends asking if everything was okay. I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I called my attorney and told her everything. The inspection, the police report, the impound. Perfect, she said. Now we file for an emergency protection order. My attorney filed the protection order petition that afternoon. Emergency hearing requested based on credible threat of serious bodily harm. We met at the courthouse the next morning. She had everything organized in a folder. Police report, mechanic's inspection report, my sworn affidavit, photos, timeline, tow receipts. Mr. Tobias, you're stating your stepson attempted to kill you and your wife may have been involved? I'm stating the brake line on my vehicle was deliberately cut. I overheard my stepson admit to it on a phone call. I heard what sounded like my wife's voice agreeing to it. I removed myself from the residence and preserved the evidence. I need protection while this is investigated. She flipped through the police report, looked at my sworn affidavit, looked at the timeline I'd written. This is credible and concerning. I'm granting a temporary protection order with exclusive possession of the residence. Respondent Carol has 48 hours to vacate once served. No contact provision included for both Carol and Cyrus. My attorney collected the paperwork. Thank you, Your Honor. We left the courthouse. She turned to me. Sheriff will serve her today, probably within the next few hours. She'll have 48 hours to get out. Don't go back until that time is up. Where do I go? Stay at the motel. I'd also recommend changing your bank passwords, freezing your credit, updating your beneficiaries if she's listed anywhere. I drove back to the motel, opened my laptop and started the process. Changed every password I had. Bank accounts, email, retirement accounts, investment portfolios, everything. Froze my credit with all 3 bureaus. Called my pension administrator. Updated my beneficiary from Carol to a revocable trust my attorney was going to help me set up. Then I hit a problem. The joint checking account. Carol was co-owner. I couldn't freeze it without her signature or a court order. I called my attorney. How much is in there? About $12,000. Pause. Withdraw half. That's your legal share during a separation. Put it in a new account in your name only. Document everything. Won't that look bad? It looks practical. You're protecting your assets during a domestic crisis. That's allowed. I drove to the bank, withdrew 6,000, got a receipt, timestamp 2:47 p.m., opened a new account at a different bank across town, deposited the 6,000, got another receipt. My attorney called that evening. It's done. Sheriff served Carol 3 hours ago at your residence. How'd she take it? She was shocked. Tried to argue. Deputy told her the order wasn't up for debate. She has until Friday at 5 p.m. to vacate. Where's Cyrus? Still in the basement as far as we know. The order covers him too. Both of them have to leave. Can I go back Friday? After 5 p.m., yes. I'd recommend having a locksmith ready. Friday came. I drove to my house at 5:30 with a locksmith following behind. Carol's car was gone. Several boxes sat on the porch. She'd packed what she could carry. Clothes. Photos. Some kitchen items. Cyrus's car was also gone. The house felt empty. Wrong. Like a museum of someone else's life. The locksmith worked fast. New deadbolts on both doors. New garage lock. New window locks. 3 copies of each key. One for me, one for my car, one hidden in a magnetic box outside. I ordered security cameras online. Doorbell camera. 2 exterior cameras with motion detection. Night vision. Direct feed to my phone. They arrived 2 days later. I installed them myself. One facing the driveway. One at the back door. One covering the garage. Then I sat in my living room and waited. Carol showed up that night. Her sister's car. She got out and walked to the front door. Tried her key. It didn't work. She knocked. Rang the bell. I watched on my phone from upstairs. She pulled out her phone and called me. I didn't answer. She texted, "Tobias, why won't the key work? We need to talk." I forwarded the text to my attorney, who sent back a template response from her office number. Per the protection order, all communication must go through legal counsel. Contact your attorney. Carol read it. I watched her face change on the camera. Shock, anger, hurt. She looked up, found the camera, stared right at it. Then she got back in the car and left. I sat in the dark house and felt nothing. 2 weeks later, a detective called. "Mr. Tobias? This is a detective from the county sheriff's office. I'm following up on your incident report. Do you have a few minutes?" "Yes, I've been reviewing the evidence. The brake line cut is definitely deliberate, no question." "No. But I need to ask you some questions about the phone call you overheard." "Okay. You said you heard your wife's voice agreeing to the plan, but you also said something felt off about it. Can you explain that?" I walked her through it. The phrases Carol used, the flat delivery, the rhythm that didn't match how Carol normally spoke. "Interesting," the detective said. "We've been looking into Cyrus's phone records. He's been recording a lot of audio and video over the past year. Family dinners, phone calls, your wife's voicemails. Says it was for a documentary project." I felt my stomach drop. "He's been recording, Carol?" "Extensively. Hours of footage. We're going through it now with a forensic audio specialist. There's something else. That call you overheard? We can't find any record of it in the phone company logs." "What does that mean?" "It means he wasn't actually on a call. He was playing something. An audio file, maybe. Saved in his phone." I sat down hard. He set me up. We're looking into it. But here's where it gets complicated. We executed a search warrant on Cyrus's room. Found some interesting things. Burner phone purchased 3 days before the incident. It was saved in his contacts as Carol with a heart emoji. "Jesus," the detective continued. "We're running forensics on his phone now. If he fabricated that audio, we'll find it. But I need to be honest with you. This is going to take time. Audio analysis, even rushed, takes several weeks minimum. The lab is backed up. What about Carol? Is she involved? That's what we're trying to determine. Right now, the evidence points more towards Cyrus manipulating the situation. But we can't rule anything out. What do I do?" "Stay where you are. Keep documenting everything. Don't contact either of them. We'll keep you updated." She hung up. I called my attorney and told her everything. "This is good," she said. "It means they're taking it seriously. If Cyrus fabricated audio to frame Carol, that's another felony charge. Obstruction. False evidence. This keeps building. But how long? Could be months. But Tobias, you're safe. You're out of that house. They can't touch you. Let the system work." 6 weeks later, the detective called again. "We got the forensic audio results back. And the call you heard wasn't a call. It was a fabricated audio file. Someone stitched together clips of your wife's voice from multiple recordings. Made it sound like a conversation." I closed my eyes. "How many clips?" 15 different sources. After Sunday service came from a video Cyrus took at Easter dinner 2 years ago. Don't forget to lock up, was from one of Carol's voicemails. They cut together 15 different recordings to create a fake conversation. My hands started shaking. So Carol wasn't involved. Based on the evidence, no. She had no knowledge of the plan. Cyrus fabricated her involvement to make you think she wanted you dead. Why? We're still piecing that together. But we found something else. Owen, Cyrus's father, had been researching life insurance policies on you. We found browser history, screenshots of your policy details that Cyrus had texted him. They knew exactly what was at stake. Owen. Yeah. And here's the thing. We pulled Owen's phone records too. He and Cyrus had 83 calls in the 2 weeks before the incident. Text messages about your schedule, your routines, when you drove to work, whether you checked your truck before driving. Owen was in on it. We think so. We found a gas station receipt in Cyrus's car. Same location where the burner phone was purchased. Same date. Security footage shows Owen and Cyrus together at the counter. I felt sick. We're bringing both of them in for questioning. Arrest warrants are being prepared. Conspiracy to commit murder. Attempted murder. Evidence tampering. This is serious. When? Tomorrow morning. I wanted to give you a heads up. This is going to hit the news. Small town like this, everyone will know. What about Carol? We've informed her. She's been cleared of any involvement. The protection order against her will be modified. You can keep exclusive possession of the residence if you want, but she's no longer considered a threat. I don't know what to say. You did everything right, Mr. Tobias. You didn't panic. You documented everything. You let us do our job. That's why we caught them. They arrested Cyrus and Owen the next morning. I watched it on the local news from my motel room. 2 men arrested in connection with an alleged murder for hire plot. Cyrus, 32, and his father Owen, 57, are facing multiple felony charges including conspiracy to commit murder and vehicle tampering. The reporter stood outside the police station. According to court documents, the pair allegedly cut the brake line on the victim's vehicle with the intent to cause a fatal accident. The victim, whose name is being withheld, discovered the plot and contacted authorities before driving the vehicle. Footage showed Cyrus being walked out in handcuffs. Head down. Owen followed. Same blank expression he always had. The reporter continued. Prosecutors say the men fabricated audio evidence to implicate the victim's wife, who has since been cleared of any involvement. If convicted, both men face significant prison time. Then Carol called. I stared at her name on the screen for a long time. Finally answered. Tobias. Her voice was broken. Small. I saw the news, she said. They're saying Cyrus tried to kill you, that Owen helped him, that they faked my voice to make you think I was involved. I didn't respond. Tobias, I swear I didn't know. I would never. You have to believe me. The police cleared you. I know. But I need you to hear it from me. I didn't want you dead. I loved you. I still love you. I stared at the motel wall. I enabled him, Carol continued. For years. Every time you tried to set boundaries, I undermined you. I chose him over you every single time. I made excuses. I convinced myself you were too hard on him. And he almost killed you because of it. She was crying now. Full sobs. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Tobias. I hung up. Sat there in silence. The thing about betrayal is it doesn't matter if it was intentional. The damage is the same. Carol didn't cut the brake line. Didn't plan my murder. Didn't fake her own voice. But she created the conditions that made it possible. Every boundary she undermined. Every excuse she made for Cyrus. Every time she chose peace over truth. She built the environment where a 32-year-old man thought he could kill his stepfather and get away with it. That's on her. The preliminary hearing came 2 weeks later. My attorney convinced me to attend. The courtroom was small. Cyrus sat with his public defender, suit clean, face expressionless. Owen sat 2 rows behind him with his own attorney. They'd both made bail. Owen's brother posted his bond. Cyrus got a bondsman. Carol sat on the opposite side, alone. When our eyes met, hers were full of questions. I looked away. The prosecutor presented everything. Police report, mechanics inspection, forensic audio analysis, phone records showing the calls between Owen and Cyrus, text messages about my schedule, the gas station footage showing them together buying the burner phone. Then a private investigator my attorney had hired testified. He explained that Owen and Cyrus had researched my insurance policies and retirement accounts extensively. He detailed Cyrus's debt, the timeline of their increased contact after I refused to co-sign the loan. What was the total potential payout if Mr. Tobias had died? Between the retirement accounts, home equity, life insurance, and survivor benefits, approximately $1.1 million. And who would have received that money? Initially, Carol as his widow. But given her close relationship with Cyrus and his financial situation, it's reasonable to assume he expected to benefit significantly. The defense attorney objected. Speculation. Sustained. But the damage was done. The jury pool would remember that number. Cyrus and Owen were held over for trial. Bail was revoked based on flight risk and severity of charges. I watched them led away in handcuffs. Owen looked at me once. Eyes empty. No recognition. Like I was already a ghost to him. The trial prep revealed what I should have seen all along. The investigator kept digging. Found emails between Owen and Carol going back 2 years. Friendly at first, then more frequent, then intimate. Owen had been trying to get Carol back. The emails were careful, never explicit, but the subtext was clear. References to what we had. Suggestions they talk sometime without Tobias around. Comments about how Cyrus deserved better than Tobias's negativity. Carol had never responded with anything encouraging. Most of her replies were brief, polite, shutting him down gently. But Owen had kept trying. Then 6 months ago, after I refused to co-sign Cyrus's loan, the emails changed tone. Owen started asking about my schedule, my routines, whether I was treating Carol right. Carol had stopped responding entirely at that point, but Owen had gotten what he needed. The seed was planted in Cyrus's mind. Tobias is the enemy. Tobias is keeping us down. Tobias is in the way. Owen had been using Cyrus. The plan was elegant in a sick way. Kill me. Make it look like Carol was involved. Carol goes to prison for conspiracy. Owen swoops in as the supportive ex-husband, eventually gets access to my money through Cyrus, and Carol would have been destroyed. Blamed for a murder she didn't commit. Her life ruined while Owen and Cyrus split the insurance money. The investigator laid it all out in a 50-page report. The fabricated audio wasn't just to fool you, he said. It was to set Carol up. They wanted you to confront her. Maybe hurt her in anger. Then they'd have you both in prison and the money free and clear. But I didn't confront her. That's why they're scrambling. You didn't follow the script. You documented. You stayed calm. You let the system work. They couldn't adapt. The trial came 9 months later. The prosecution presented everything. The cut brake line. The fabricated audio. The phone records. The gas station footage. Owen's emails to Carol. The research into my finances. The financial motive. Owen's attorney tried to argue he was just a concerned father helping his son reconnect with his mother. The prosecutor destroyed that in cross-examination. If you were just facilitating a relationship, why did you purchase a burner phone with your son 3 days before the brake line was cut? Owen's attorney had no answer. If you were just concerned about Cyrus's well-being, why were you texting detailed questions about Mr. Tobias's driving schedule? No answer. If your intentions were innocent, why did you help fabricate audio evidence to frame your ex-wife? No answer. The jury came back in 6 hours. Guilty on all counts for both defendants. Cyrus got 12 years. Eligible for parole after 8. Owen got 10 years. Eligible after 7. The judge was harsh during sentencing. You didn't just attempt to murder Mr. Tobias. You attempted to destroy an innocent woman's life. You fabricated evidence. You manipulated your own son. You exploited a family's trust. This was calculated, methodical, evil. Owen kept his head down. Never looked at anyone. Cyrus stared at me once, eyes dead, like I'd stolen something from him. They were led away. Carol made a sound, broken, raw. After the sentencing, she approached me in the hallway. I didn't know, she said, about Owen, about the emails, about any of it. I know. I thought he just wanted to be part of Cyrus's life again. I thought I was helping. I know. She looked at me with desperate eyes. Can we talk? Please? Just once? I thought about it, really considered it, then shook my head. There's nothing left to say, Carol. I walked away. Some of you asked what happened next. Here's the update. Update: 8 months after sentencing, sold the house. Bought a small place near the river. 1 story, no basement, just peace. My attorney got a $400,000 judgment against Owen and Cyrus for civil damages. Emotional distress, attempted wrongful death, legal fees, and punitive damages. They'll never pay it, but it follows them forever. Every background check, every credit report, every job application until they die. Started seeing someone 3 months ago. Hadley. Hardware store on Main Street. We get dinner at the diner. Talk about normal things. She knows about the trial, but doesn't push. It's easy, comfortable, no history. Then last week, Carol showed up. She looked smaller, older, graying. Tobias, can we talk? We sat on the porch steps. I've been in therapy twice a week, she said. trying to understand how I raised someone capable of that. I cut contact with both of them. Cyrus writes from prison. I send the letters back. Owen tries calling. I blocked him. Her voice cracked. I chose Cyrus over you every single day for 11 years. I undermined every boundary you set, and you almost died because of it. I'm so sorry. Is there any chance for us? And here's where I'm stuck. Part of me says, heck no. She had 11 years to pick me first. 11 years of choosing wrong. $1 million in retirement money and one cut break line later. Now she wants another shot? Hadley doesn't have that baggage. When I say I need space, she gives it. No guilt, no drama, just respect. But 11 years is 11 years. We had good years before Cyrus poisoned everything. Carol didn't cut the break line. Didn't plan my murder. She was manipulated too. She's in therapy. She cut them both off. She's trying. And Hadley? She's great. But it's only been 3 months. I don't even know if it's going anywhere serious. I told Carol I needed time to think. She nodded and left. Called Hadley after. Told her what happened. She said, take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere. See? That's the kind of woman who makes this decision harder. So Reddit, I'm asking. Do I give Carol another chance? The woman who enabled the guy who tried to kill me but didn't actually know? Or do I stick with Hadley, who's only been around 3 months but has never made me question if she's got my back? I'm 52. Got maybe 20 good years left. I keep doing the math and I can't figure out the right answer. What would you do? If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and help us bring you more and better stories. Thanks. Stories. Thanks. Stories. Thanks. Stories. Thanks. Stories.